Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Stephen Romo in for Joe and Savannah today. And we begin this hour with people dealing with the aftermath of another day of severe storms that have been sweeping across the country for almost a week now. Tuesday's powerful system spawning tornadoes throughout the South, like this one in Huntsville, Alabama, that touched down last night. Or in Jackson, Tennessee, where a twister hit a warehouse, sending debris flying into the air. The director of Madison County Emergency Management said the building was evacuated and none of the employees were injured there. Wow. Well, meanwhile, people in Kentucky are continuing to rebuild, even as the possibility of more severe weather is in the forecast for them this weekend. Meteorologist Angie Lassman is standing by with the latest forecast. But first, NBC News correspondent Kathy Park has the latest from London, Kentucky.
Stephen, good morning to you. Yeah, it certainly was another anxious night for millions in the path for more severe weather across the Midwest and South, including Alabama, where this morning we're getting reports of tornadoes and damaging winds, knocking down trees and power lines. And here in London, Kentucky, many residents in the disaster zones had to evacuate because of fears of another natural disaster striking this area. Governor Beshear urged people to get out while they could ahead of these storms because he was concerned these massive debris piles could turn into projectiles. The National Weather Service now confirming that this was an EF4 tornado with wind speeds of more than 170 miles per hour. So when you can look around here, you can see that the landscape has pretty much changed overnight. We should also point out that this is a third major natural disaster to hit the state of Kentucky this year. Stephen?
All right, Kathy Park reporting for us there. And the threat of severe weather seems to have slowed down, but let's turn to NBC meteorologist Angie Lassman for the latest on this. Definitely looks like a May forecast, Angie.
A May forecast indeed, Stephen. And the good news is, as you mentioned, some of that severe weather not going to be quite as impactful today when we're specifically talking about the tornadoes, the hail, the wind threats. Those are going to be lower and for a smaller group of people, but we still do have the potential to see a whole lot of rain leading to potentially some flooding down the line and going into a holiday weekend. So here's what we've got right now. Your satellite and radar showing all of this rain stretched essentially from parts of the Midwest across the Great Lakes into the Northeast and down through the Mid-Atlantic. Those are the spots we're specifically going to be watching for, not just today, but over the next couple of days to receive plenty of rain. The first thing I want you to note, here's the severe threat. We've got just a sliver of parts of the plains and parts of the Carolinas included in that. And we're mainly looking for potentially some large hail, maybe some wind gusts, 1 or 2 tornadoes. Not quite as the ingredients aren't quite there for what we've been seeing over the past couple of days with this storm system. What we are going to see, though, is this next low pressure system kind of develop off the Mid-Atlantic coast and stay there. We've got a late season nor'easter that's going to develop, and that means that heavy rain is in the picture from the Great Lakes to the Northeast. We'll see wind accompany that, as well as some chilly conditions. So a bit of a different kind of forecast for folks across this region than what they've been dealing with for the past few days. Tomorrow, we're still wet across many of these places, specifically New Jersey to Maine. We'll still see some of that heavy rain as we get into your day tomorrow. And then by Friday, low still sitting offshore, still twirling in some of that rain. And this means that the wind, the snow, and those higher elevations also going to be on the table across that region too. So when it comes to the biggest threat we're looking for, it's going to be that flash flooding. And you can see today it is centered around Pittsburgh. Altoona includes a good chunk of Pennsylvania. But over basically the next couple of days, we're going to see kind of repeated rounds of this rain. So no surprise that we've already got some of these flood alerts up. They're few and far between, but they do include Pittsburgh, Morgantown, and just north of Charlottesville. I wouldn't be surprised if we add some of those on here as the next couple of days go on. Here's what we're looking at: 2 to 3 inches in those higher amounts, but widespread anywhere from 1 to 2 inches across parts of the Northeast. It's going to be a soggy one. Want to have that umbrella handy. One note, though, the umbrella may go flying if you're closer to the coast. We've got 30 and 40 mile per hour winds for a lot of folks, especially, again, the closer you go to the Atlantic, and close to 50 miles per hour. Check out Nantucket. That's a peak wind gust that we could see for tomorrow as this low sits just offshore, Stephen. So this will be something that we'll still see kind of be impacting folks across New England as we get into Friday and head into this upcoming holiday weekend. It'll be chilly across that region, but then we'll turn our attention to more showers and storms for parts of the Midwest, the Ohio and Tennessee Valley on Sunday.
All right, a holiday weekend, but storms, it's May. What can you do?
Typical. Exactly.
Typical. All right, Angie, thank you.
Of course.
All right, to Washington now, where House Republicans are racing to push through President Trump's so-called big, beautiful bill ahead of a self-imposed Memorial Day deadline. With his agenda on the line, the president visited Capitol Hill yesterday to try to persuade a key group of GOP lawmakers to get on board and support the multi-trillion-dollar package. It includes tax breaks, some spending cuts, along with more border security and military spending. Mr. Trump says Republicans are unified on budget reconciliation, but NBC News understands the president had some tough words for some members of his own party. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez joins us now with more on this. So, Gabe, about Trump's meeting with House GOP, how confident is he that he can get this through, and do we think he changed any minds?
Hi there, Stephen. Good morning. Well, President Trump, at least publicly, says he is very confident. He says the party is unified. But the reality is, at this point, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Some Republicans feel that the spending cuts here do not go far enough, and they're still not on board. Now, Stephen, as we speak, a final hearing in the Rules Committee is still underway on Capitol Hill right now. It's been going on since 1 a.m., in the middle of the night, basically, and there is still a lot of debate among Republicans about some of these cuts and whether the 2017 tax cuts from President Trump should be extended. How do you pay for them? That this bill could add almost $4 trillion to the deficit. Still, though, yesterday on Capitol Hill, President Trump tried to project confidence along with Speaker Mike Johnson. Listen.
I think we have unbelievable unity. I think we're going to get everything we want. And that was a meeting of love. Let me tell you, that was love in that room. There was no shouting. I think it was a meeting of love. And I'm not losing patience. We're ahead of schedule. Anybody that told you that was a liar.
Still, sources within that Republican conference meeting did tell NBC News that the president did say he was losing patience with some Republican holdouts. And publicly, he has said that there are some grandstanders within the Republican Party, but he does expect them to eventually get on board. The clock is ticking, though. Speaker Mike Johnson has said he wants this passed by Memorial Day. A final vote in the House could come as early as today. But again, that final hearing is still underway as we speak.
Yeah, time's ticking down. We're going to have more on that hearing, too, in just a bit, Gabe. I'm sure the caffeine is flowing there. Gabe, wanted to get the latest on the immigration front now. We saw a judge yesterday order the Trump administration to, quote, maintain custody of migrants that were sent to war-torn South Sudan, which is not where they're from. We saw the similar attempt earlier this month from the administration to send migrants to Libya instead of their home countries, a federal judge issuing an order to stop that, too. What's the latest there?
Yeah, that's right. This is all unfolding as President Trump's mass deportation plan continues to get underway. But yes, these migrants from 2 Asian countries were supposedly deported to war-torn South Sudan, according to those attorney. And yes, there was an emergency hearing yesterday where a judge said that the administration needed to maintain custody of those migrants as this went through the legal system. But still a lot of controversy over this as the Trump administration tries to deport migrants to different countries. And as you mentioned, Stephen, they already tried to do this to the country of Libya just a short time ago, and it's now being held up in the courts. President Trump has railed against the court system for trying to stop his immigration promises, Stephen.
Yeah, a lot more to come there. And, Gabe, we also saw the president yesterday unveil plans for his Golden Dome missile defense program. What should we know about that one?
Yeah, that's right. And this is modeled after Israel's Iron Dome. President Trump has long said that he wanted such a system for the United States as well. This could take several years to complete. The president estimated 3 years, and it could cost around $175 billion, according to the president's estimate. Construction, though, he says, will move forward, and he has tapped a leader of a U.S. Space Force program in order to lead it up. He made the announcement yesterday in the Oval Office, Stephen.
All right, Gabe, thanks so much. Well, more now on President Trump's massive reconciliation bill. Overnight, the House Rules Committee kicked off that rare early morning session to begin consideration of the package, and they are still going right now, as Gabe was just telling us. This is a crucial step, though, where lawmakers can set the terms for debate and make amendments to the bill before sending it to the House floor. Republican Speaker Mike Johnson has been pushing for a full vote on the bill by tomorrow. In opening statements today, ranking committee members from both sides of the aisle commented on the unusual dead-of-night timing of this meeting, with Republicans accusing Democrats of doing the exact same thing in the past.
They can't have their cake and eat it too. They cannot complain about reporting legislation in the dark of night when the only reason it went so late was because of their own actions. The Rules Committee has a long tradition of meeting late into the evening and reporting legislation long after most of America has gone to bed.
Before we get into the substance here, I've got a simple question. What the hell are Republicans so afraid of? What the hell are you so scared of that you guys are holding this hearing at 1 o'clock in the morning?
NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Julie Sirkin joins us now with more on this one. Julie, some fiscal conservatives have been pushing for deeper cuts to social aid programs like Medicaid to offset some of Trump's spending bill. What would that effect have on the national debt? We're also seeing these moderate Republicans concerned that it could come back to bite them. What's happening in that session?
Yeah, totally, especially when it comes to Medicaid and those clean energy tax provisions that were signed into law under then President Obama as part of the Inflation Reduction Act. These are two key areas that moderates in the House and Senate, by the way, which would have to pass this bill if and when it gets out of the House, have real issues with, especially on Medicaid, because what the House Republicans are doing now to try and get around all of the spending that they are raising with extending those tax cuts, making them permanent, of course, no tax on tips and other provisions as well. Instead of that, they are, of course, making reforms to Medicaid. That includes potentially changing the structure by which the federal government helps states pay for the expanded version of Medicaid. When it comes to the clean energy tax credits, for example, they want to speed up the way in which those will be phased out or repealed. Many projects have already started in key states, including in swing key battleground districts, Stephen.
I know one of the sticking points preventing this bill from going forward, Julie, has been the debate over raising the cap on state and local tax deduction, also known as SALT. I understand there was some progress from House Republicans overnight. How close are they to a deal?
There was, and apologies, I'm keeping my eye out in case Speaker Johnson walks by me or any of these holdouts, because of course they are on the Hill, given that they are meeting this early and it's such a big day. So when it comes to the state and local tax deduction, remember, this affects blue states, New York, California, Illinois, places with a really high state and local taxes. Citizens there are able to deduct that amount depending on the cap. Of course, because of President Trump's 2017 tax cuts, that cap went into effect for the first time. It was $10,000. Well, the Republicans from those blue states, many can argue those actually made the House Republican majority. They want that cap lifted. The president came to the Hill yesterday. Melanie Zanona and I reported from inside that meeting that Trump told those holdouts, those salters, if you will, to stop being so salty, to end this debate back and forth. He said this would only benefit those blue state governors. The thing is, though, that's not entirely true. So we are told there is basically a deal in principle. We don't know yet if those Republicans accepted the deal, but it would lift that cap from $10,000 to $40,000 for individuals making $500,000 or less a year. Nobody in the Senate side really cares about this, so this is the last best offer that they'll get.
Fascinating. Julie, you're based there. You have these conversations all the time. What does your gut tell you? Does this get voted on before Republicans' own deadline?
Well, Speaker Mike Johnson ambitiously says that he's still planning to put the bill on the floor tonight, ahead of Memorial Day. Of course, he could still do it tomorrow, Friday. He did threaten to keep folks in through the weekend. It really all depends what happens in the Rules Committee meeting, which is happening right now. They have yet to make any of those changes that they negotiated that we talked about to Medicaid, to the clean energy tax credits, to SALT. They have yet to make those permanent in the form of text that will then go into this bill. They are planning to during this meeting that you're seeing there on your screen. But of course, we're in hour 6 of that meeting, and that has still yet to happen. Democrats, by the way, offering hundreds of amendments to try and slow down this process.
Wow. Well, Julie, quickly here, wanted to ask you about the tax on tips, the effort to eliminate that, one of Trump's campaign promises. Yesterday, the Senate passed that with the help from Democrats. So what's next for that bill?
Yeah, this was super interesting. No tax on tips has been a campaign trail promise that President Trump wanted Congress to make good on. We see a trend here when it comes to all those promises. But no tax on tips really affects workers in Nevada. They have a lot, of course, of waiters, people in the service industry that rely on tips. So Jackie Rosen, a Democrat from Nevada, of course, a battleground state. She just won re-election, by the way, so she's not in cycle. She went on the Senate floor to call for unanimous consent, meaning consent of all 100 senators. There was no vote to pass this legislation into law. Republicans allowed it. Senator Ted Cruz, who's also behind this bill, made the point that this is in the House reconciliation package, so likely it'll get tucked in there. Of course, they have to fund this. That raises the cost of the package, therefore limiting how much they can cut the deficit by. And then that's how the Senate would likely pass this bill in order to fund that provision. But certainly Democrats getting some cover on that by joining suit and passing it yesterday in the Senate.
All right, fascinating stuff indeed. I did not see Mike Johnson walk behind you, in case you were wondering, Julie. I know you'll keep an eye out for him. Thanks so much. Also in Washington, the Justice Department charging a sitting congresswoman from New Jersey with assaulting ICE agents at a protest earlier this month. But Democrats are calling the charges political intimidation. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez has those details.
The heated confrontation outside an ICE detention facility in New Jersey this month was captured on body cameras. You can see Democratic Congresswoman LaMonica McIver, there in the red jacket, in a scuffle with ICE agents. The Justice Department has charged her with assault.
She was shoving federal agents. She was out of control. The days of that crap are over in this country. We're going to have law and order.
But the Congresswoman says she did nothing wrong and is accusing federal agents of escalating the situation.
It's political intimidation, and I'm looking forward to my day in court.
According to the criminal complaint, McIver hit officers while trying to stop them from arresting Newark Mayor Ras Baraka for trespassing. Charges against Baraka were dropped. The complaint includes photos of what looks like McIver's forearm making contact with an officer's back.
And you certainly can't put hands on an officer or employee.
The Justice Department did not follow its standard practice of consulting its public integrity section before charging her, according to a source familiar with the matter. Meanwhile, the DOJ is also investigating the city of Chicago's hiring practices after its Democratic mayor touted the number of black city officials he's hired.
When you hire our people, we always look out for everybody else. Chief Operations Officer is a black man. Budget Director is a black woman. Senior advisor is a black man.
The DOJ will now determine if he's discriminating based on race as the Trump administration cracks down on DEI.
This administration has demonstrated a great deal of animus and disdain towards what is sensible about our country, and that's the diversity of our country.
Also, the Homeland Security Secretary incorrectly defining habeas corpus, which allows people to challenge their detention. Administration officials have floated suspending it for undocumented immigrants.
What is habeas corpus?
Well, habeas corpus is a constitutional right that the president has to be able to remove people from this country and suspend their right to.
Let me stop you, ma'am. Habeas corpus, excuse me, that's incorrect.
Our thanks to Gabe for that report. When asked if she supports the core protection that habeas corpus provides Americans, that people can't be detained without valid legal grounds, Secretary Noem said she does, but she also said she recognizes the president has the authority to decide if that right should be suspended or not, even though historically that is a power of Congress. The Department of Homeland Security did not immediately respond to NBC News' request for comment. Well, Elon Musk says he's stepping back from politics and government. The world's richest man, who spent hundreds of millions of dollars to get Trump elected, says he will be spending a lot less going forward. All this comes as the CEO of Tesla also cut back his work in federal government with the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans has more.
Elon Musk is steering away from politics and government.
Take over, Elon. Just take it.
Signaling his days of handing out big checks on the campaign trail are over.
In terms of political spending, I'm going to do a lot less in the future.
The world's richest man, who recently stepped back from his advisory role in the Trump administration, speaking to CNBC's David Faber at an event promoting Tesla's upcoming robo-taxis, saying he does not regret his work with the Trump administration.
Talking about Tesla, obviously, takes me to a certain extent to what some would say is the brand damage done by your government service. I don't know if you would agree with that.
Has some pros and cons.
There have been some pros and cons.
Musk also defending this gesture he made at Trump's inauguration.
Thank you. How many legacy media publications, talk shows, whatever, try to claim that I was a Nazi because of some random hand gesture at a rally where all I said was that my heart goes out to you, and I was talking about space travel.
Musk taking a chainsaw to federal spending in his unofficial role as head of the Department of Government Efficiency, better known as DOGE.
We've tried to go after every part of the budget.
Those highly litigated reductions sparking protests and boycotts.
We are advisors. We're not kings here.
The backlash even affecting his company's bottom line. Tesla profits plummeting 71% in the first quarter of the year. Musk attributing the sales decline to a recent retooling of Tesla's factories, without going into specifics.
We've seen a major rebound in demand at this point. I mean, when you buy a product, I mean, how much do you care about the political views of the CEO? Or do you even know what they are?
Now, with his days of wearing double hats in business and government in the rearview mirror,
he wants to get back home to his car.
Musk says he's hoping to focus his energies on the core of his businesses.
My rough plan on the White House is to be there for a couple days every few weeks, and to be helpful where I can be helpful.
Christine Roman's reporting there. As for what's next for his businesses, Elon Musk is hoping to make another push into self-driving cars, making them fully autonomous. Musk hinted that other major automakers have asked to license Tesla's self-driving tech. He says the next big update of this tech is about a year away, but we should keep in mind that's a promise Musk has been making since 2016. Now to New Orleans, where a jail maintenance worker is now in custody and accused of helping 10 inmates escape early Friday morning. It comes as a fifth inmate was recaptured overnight while police continue their manhunt for the other fugitives. NBC News correspondent Ryan Chandler is in New Orleans with the latest.
Hey guys, good morning. Now 6 days into this manhunt, half of the fugitives have been captured, 5 are still on the run. Overnight, authorities arresting 19-year-old Corey Boyd. He'll now head to a state facility and face second-degree murder charges. The sheriff says they have more than 200 law enforcement personnel on the ground actively searching, and the New Orleans police chief says they believe that the rest of the remaining fugitives are still within the city limits of New Orleans. Meanwhile, the fallout continues inside the sheriff's office. Authorities arresting a jail maintenance worker for allegedly helping the inmates escape. They say that this maintenance worker turned off the water to a cell, allowing the inmates to dig through the piping. And the sheriff herself facing political backlash, announcing yesterday she is suspending her political campaign, saying she needs to focus all of her efforts on fixing this jail instead of politics. Guys.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.